The Beretta Model 21a Bobcat, Covert model. Let's check it out. The Beretta Model 21a Bobcat has been extremely popular. It's a small little pocket pistol, 22 long rifle or 25 ACP. Very small, it's double single action, but the big feature is the tip-up barrel. Makes it super easy to load, to the point that you don't even have to rack the slide, but you can. It's a small little mouse gun, and they're a lot of fun to shoot. Really made as a backup. But this is the Covert model, and this is the Covert model, which has a threaded barrel, which makes it a perfect host for a suppressor. And here we have a Banish 22. Now these are excellent from Silencer Central. This makes it Hollywood quiet, and this is a lot of fun. Now we want to give a big thank you to Nate over at Gun Zone Deals, who sent the Model 21a Bobcat Covert model. These have just been discontinued by Beretta, and Nate has a few. But these are great little guns to pick up, even if it's on the used market. And guys, there are a lot of these out there. And also, we appreciate Silencer Central for sending the Banish 22 to make this super quiet. The Beretta Model 21a Bobcat, and this is the Covert model, which really the only thing that changes is the threaded barrel and the barrel length. It's 2.9 inches. The standard Bobcat was 2.4 inches in length. Half by 28 threads, so it makes it really easy for a suppressor host, and that's really the reason why we have this. These are really small pocket pistols. Again, they've been around since 1984, so we have, 40 years of history. And then there was the Model 20 before that. Which I believe they didn't have the safety. So it's one of the things about this handgun. It does have the frame safety. It has your magazine release down here at the grip. A little bit different, and we're going to drop out our 7-round magazine. These will fit 8 rounds, but it won't actually enter into the grip. So 7-round magazine, plus you have an 8-round capacity. Now the gun is empty. So 1 round here, and then we load the magazine, and we have 7 rounds. So we have an 8-round total. With the 25 ACP, it held 8 rounds. Now this is one of my favorite mouse guns or pocket pistols. I've had these again for a number of years, but my all-time favorite is the Model 950 from Beretta. And this is just a single action, very small. It's in 25 or 22 short. We've done some reviews on these. These are excellent little handguns. Kind of the same manual of arms, a little bit different magazine, but same development design. These are great little pistols, but the Model 21 is a little bit more advanced. And one of the big things is it's double single action. So while the other one you have to cock the hammer or rack the slide, this one you can actually fire it just by pulling the trigger, and you'll see the hammer come back. Now I'm not going to dry fire this at this time. Dry firing 22 rim fire can really damage the firing pin if you do it excessively. So we have a longer, heavy trigger. But one of the things about this pistol, because it is the tip-up barrel design, which has made these extremely popular, is again, I can load my magazine, drop a round in the chamber, close it, and now I don't have to rack the slide. But you can rack the slide. It takes a little strength because it's small, but once you get it, it's not that big of a deal. Now you see the hammer is in the rear position, so we have single action. So then we pull the trigger. It's a very short take-up. We'll look at the trigger pull action in a couple of minutes, but here we have our frame safety, and it can be activated with the hammer in the down position. But also we have a half cock, And so with that, with your safety engaged, this is safe to carry. Without the safety engaged, even on half cock, this is not safe. It's not drop safe. We have an inertia firing pin. We have a Cerakote finish on this one, and most of the models were either blue. Really, the only thing they've been producing lately beside the Cerakote is a stainless steel model, which we did a review on this a while back. Great little gun, alloy receiver, aluminum alloy, and this has a really nice kind of a golden finish to it almost. It's really a beautiful two-tone, well, three-tone. But you have your Cerakote here, and then we have a little bit of a different Cerakote FDE color here. We have our lever right here for a tip-up, and of course you can see how the lock happens right here, and that actually locks the slide down to the frame. And of course there are some slide rails. Very minimal sights, and I mean they are just almost gutter sights. So when you're firing this with a suppressor, you can see your sights, but the suppressor is going to be in front of it. But you can still get decent accuracy with these, and we're going to test that out at the range. There's a little bit of a beaver tail here, and this just protects your hand. If you have big meaty hands, this may be a little bit challenging for slide bite, but really I think this is pretty high up from the web of your hand. So it gives it some protection. Of course, we have serrations here on the back and on the front, and then of course we have our plastic grips. Some do come with wood grips, and again, they did make a model that was just blued. But again, this is going to be discontinued. In fact, if you can find one of these, you probably want to pick it up as far as if you want a new one. But we have had these for years. In fact, this is my brother's. He bought this probably in '86. It's a .22 long rifle. He's had it for a long time, and then he wanted to sell it, and I bought it. Because I love it. It was funny, he bought the Model 21A, I bought the Model 950 at about the same time. And so I've loved this gun, but I also love the 21A. This one again has the smooth wood grips, and this is the traditional way that this was made. Bluing on the slide, I mean it's a beautiful handgun, but they've updated it with the Cerakote. Now because this is a blowback action, and the reason why they can do a tip-up barrel is if you'll notice there's no place for an extractor on the slide and there's no extractor. This actually relies on the gas pressures once the round's fired to throw the brass out. Of course when you bring this down it has a nice little satisfying click to it. Because it is blowback and the rounds are spent, this can be a little finicky. But one of the things that I found, especially with the first one, we had a little bit of trouble with it when we first got it. Once we shot some rounds through it, a couple of hundred rounds, this has been a super reliable gun even with standard velocity ammunition. I would highly recommend though, when you first get one of these, is to shoot CCI mini mags or the high velocity Fiocchi. It works really well. One of the issues though with the Covert in the FDE, because it's Cerakote, it does take a little bit more of a break-in period. Cerakote definitely adds a little bit of thickness to the slides and to the internal parts. So if you're finding that this is finicky, that's going to be really one of the main reasons. But there's something about shooting rounds through this over time that just seemed to work out. And we've been able to fire a lot of different type ammunitions. But at first, you're going to have to be careful with the type ammunition you use. Now these were only made in the US at Beretta USA, and again that started in 1984. They did have a .22 long rifle and a 25 ACP model, which they discontinued the 25 ACP. Obviously that is kind of fallen out of favor just because it's a very anemic round. With .22, a lot of people like just to take them out and shoot them, and they're cheaper to shoot than 25 ACP. Now to check the trigger pull action, we're going to put in a dummy round, and this is going to protect our firing pin. So first thing we're going to do is test for double action. And you can see it's really long, it's really heavy. And that first shot is double action. So you can pull that with the hammer in the down position. Subsequent shots, the hammer will be in the rear position. And so we have a very short little take up. And with that, you have a nice little break. So here we have the double action, long, smooth pull. And it starts to stack a little bit even though it's smooth, but we get that break. In single action, take up to right here, we hit a wall, a little bit of stacking, but then we have a decent break. Let's check reset. Reset's right there. Not a bad reset. Now with our Lyman trigger gauge, we're going to check the double action trigger pull. And again, it is pretty heavy. 7 pounds, 15 ounces. 8 pounds, 1.7 ounces. Single action, 4 pounds, 15 ounces. 4 pounds, 6.3 ounces. Now there is one issue if you do have a malfunction, is you pull up the barrel and then we have the round in here. If the round is in it, whether it's spent, if it's not spent, you might be able to shoot it again. But if it gets stuck in here, you're going to have to take a fingernail or something and you're going to have to pull that out. Other than that, that's the only downside. One of the beautiful things about the Beretta Model 21 Bobcat is that you don't have to rack the slide. And for those with weaker hand strength, I mean, again, this is a fairly heavy pull because you're pulling against the hammer. But if you pull the hammer back, it's a lot easier to pull back. And honestly, about anybody could do that. Now, while I don't recommend these as a self-defense option, they can be used as a backup, which that really is what Beretta purported, is for police or civilians with concealed carry permits or constitutional carry to carry one of these. You know, it's for deep cover. And while 22 long rifle is not the best round for self-defense, it's better than a sharp stick. And at close ranges, it can be effective. And the weight on the Beretta Bobcat Model 21 Covert, 12.87 ounces. Well guys, one of the things though that I like about the Model 21, it has a full grip to it. It's just a little bit thicker. You feel like you've got it in your hand very confidently. Of course, it's 22 long rifle. It shoots really easy. I mean, there's hardly any recoil. With a 950, it's a little bit smaller. And so if you have larger hands, this is a little bit difficult gun to shoot. For me, I've always liked this, but until I really started shooting the Model 21, and it gave me just a little bit more gripping surface, but it's small still in the silhouette. And so while this is a little bit easier to carry and conceal, the Model 21 is a little nicer to shoot. You feel like you've got a better grip on the handgun. And similar to the Tomcat, and this is the 22a CP, it's their new 30X. They've changed the tip-up barrel design this way with a push button instead of the lever. They've moved the magazine release. And this is a great little gun. We just did a review on it. They've upgraded the sights, a lot of other things. And then to compare more with the Covert, is their Get Home Bag model. Suppressor height sights, threaded barrel, same configuration as the 30X, but just with that feature. And so this is a incredible little host for a suppressor. Very low recoil. We did a review on the bug out bag model on our Sensible Prepper channel. I have it annotated right here. And of course, shooting suppressors, we've had no malfunctions with either one of these. And this one, of course, is here on the Suits channel. But these are great little additions from Beretta. A big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA, one of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. Now we have some other ammo on the table, and that is the CCI Quiet 22, and we have the Aguila Subsonic Solid Point, and we have something I've never tried. This is the Aguila 22 Sniper Subsonic. Looks kind of unusual. And since we don't have any subsonic, we decided to bring this out. And we're using the Banish 22 from Silencer Central. Looks really nice on this Bobcat. Of course, the Beretta 21a Bobcat's a lot of fun to take to the range. But you put a suppressor on it, man, it makes a world of difference. And with a Covert model, obviously we got the threaded barrel. We've got the Silencer Central, this is their Banish 22. Excellent suppressor. We can load our magazine, tip up the barrel. Again, no racking of the slide. Now we had some pretty serious issues early on. A lot of that I think attributed to the Cerakote. Adds a little bit of surface area to it, and once we kind of trimmed that out, it started working fine. Incredibly quiet. But you know, we want to also test out some regular velocity ammunition. We have some Fiocchi here, it's just standard velocity. And you know, this still makes this hearing safe. I didn't bring an extra round, so we'll just shoot off about 7 rounds. That's less than a pellet gun, even with standard velocity ammunition. This is really working great. On the second day down to the range, we haven't had any problems. I think we had one right early on, but overall, it's just functioned flawlessly. Thing about some of these, Cerakote or not, is once you shoot it a few times, it seems to break in. First, I start them out with CCI mini mags, and that seems to work the best, or a Fiocchi high velocity, and then all of a sudden it just kind of works its way in. But great little pistol. I mean, these again have been around for a long time. Sad to see them being discontinued, but they're still going to be around. Great little guns. Guys, we're going to shoot one magazine with the Banish 22 suppressor, and we're going to compare it to just shooting the Beretta 21A without a suppressor. Of course, there's no contest, and that's the reason why having a suppressor on the 21A is just incredible. I mean, it is super quiet. All right, for disassembly, we're just going to drop our magazine, go ahead and tip your barrel up, check the chamber, bring your barrel all the way around. Next, I'm going to pull my hammer back, makes it a little bit easier, and then as we take the slide, push it back and then just lift up from the front and it'll come off. And as far as field strip, that's all you have to do. It is super simple. Now, one thing about it is the recoil system, and here are these bars, and underneath, and we're going to take the grips off and I'm going to show you, there is a recoil spring system in here. It's very ingenious, honestly. Now, if we remove the grip, just to show you the recoiling system, here we have a lever that fits up to the slide and it fits in these little grooves. And then there's a spring that's housed in this little tube. And so this goes back and forth, and your arms go back and forth like this. And so this is your recoil system. Now, the barrel has a little hook to it, and it hooks into the frame, and then it really retains your slide, plus you have your slide rails, which are very minimal, but a very simple system. Now, it's a little bit dirty. I did wipe it down, but after shooting suppressed, it does put a lot of gases, a lot of debris back onto the firearm. And so you're going to want to really keep that clean. You can see on the inside of the slide that, you know, there's a lot of carbon buildup. Actually, it was all along the outside too, and I went ahead and cleaned that up just to give you a better idea of the internals of the handgun. But again, very simple. And guys, keeping your handgun clean is important, but even more important when you have a suppressor. It will dirty up your gun. And the best cleaning supplies that I know of is Otis. Otis Technologies, they're the ones that develop the ripcord. This is what the U.S. military uses. In fact, they are a contractor for the U.S. military. So that speaks a lot about Otis. But keeping your gun clean, again, it'll help it with reliability, and it'll also keep it from getting damaged and any kind of corrosion or rust building up. So invest in a good cleaning kit. And we really appreciate Otis for being a channel sponsor. Now, for assembly, just as easy, making sure the barrel's over, take the slide and start with your rails, and then just push it down and it locks just like that. I mean, it is so simple. We'll drop the hammer. This is just a very cool little firearm. Now, the Beretta 950 was actually introduced in 1952. It was 1986 before they introduced the 21A. And of course, this, I believe, was introduced, the Enox model, in 2000. And of course, along with that, they did introduce their Covert model. There's a number of different calibers, 22 short, 25 ACP, 25 ACP 22 long rifle, but they've gone to just the 22 long rifle. This is one series of handguns that I do collect. I do have the 22 short. I've even got it with the long barrel in 22 short, their Target model, 25 ACP. I mean, these are just really small, tiny guns. They're pocket pistols, or what I like to refer to them as mouse guns. .22 long rifle is the most common caliber around the world. And it's one of the reasons why CIA operatives and other government agencies use .22 for more covert operations. And so while this is not a mainline self-defense, in my opinion, these still make great options for self-defense or just taking it out to the range and having fun. And a big thank you to Silencer Central for the Banish .22. This makes this handgun Hollywood quiet. The retail price on the Model 21a Bobcat Covert is $649. Natick Gun Zone Deals has some of these for $459. These have been discontinued, so if you'd really like to get a hold of one, you probably want to act pretty quickly. But these will still be a lot of times on the used market. But if you want a new one, Gun Zone Deals. What are pros and cons? This is a very small, very concealable handgun. It's what it was designed for. With a threaded barrel, it gives it even more capability. Throw a suppressor on here and it makes it really fun to shoot. Very quiet. Even with hypervelocity ammunition, CCI mini mags, you put in some Gila 22 subsonics and it's beautiful, and there are a lot of choices out there for subsonic. The tip-up barrel feature is excellent. You don't have to rack the slide. It's very safe. You can put one in, close it, and throw on your safety and you're good to go. And of course, 7 rounds in the magazine. While it's limited, this is a very small handgun. Double single action, that's really a big plus. Most of your small pocket pistols are single action. Redundant safeties, half cock, frame safety, and again with the tip up barrel. Very mild recoil, a lot of fun to take to the range. And guys, these are so small, they just make a really great gun just to have and collect. And that's one of the big things for me. Again, I'm not really a big gun collector, but this is one that I like. Reliability, find the right ammo, shoot quite a bit through it, and it'll make it more reliable with other ammos. Very lightweight, easy to conceal. Overall, a great handgun. Again, I have a number of these. I'm a big fan, and I hate to see Beretta discontinuing them, but we'll see what happens in the future. So guys, the Model 21a Bobcat, it's been a favorite, again, for 40 years. And there's a good reason why it's been around for a long time. They're just small, handy, double single action. Obviously the tip-up barrel's great, and with the Covert model, we can see we have the Banish .22 on here that really makes this super quiet. Again, Beretta has just discontinued these. There are still a few out there, but check out Gun Zone Deals, and we really appreciate Nate for sending the Model 21a Bobcat Covert for this review, and also to Silencer Central for the Banish .22. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Silencer Central Banish .22. It's just a really nice compliment for this little whateve this is, this little thing, this little creature, this little Bobcat. Now when it comes to the little Berettas, well, where's my magazine, Dave? Dave, where's my magazine, Dave? There it is. Okay, let's start it all over.
I know, because now it doesn't make any sense. What you do is you start with saying thank you for
Okay.
Fiocchi. Then you talk about the others.
All right. Excellent suppressor. Those are great little guns. I'll have one annotated above, but that's also okay. God bless America. Long live the Republic. The public. Long live the public.